and welcome back to my channel. I'm Angie Caney and this is my channel Tinks Treasures. And today I want to do a Disney day. So I have my ears here and I want to do a Disney inspired project, and we had just taken a trip to Disney World and I want to make this adorable pinhead holder. So this is our project for today, so I hope you join me and watch the process. So let's get started and let me show you the supplies I have for this Disney inspired Mickey head pin trading little corkboard craft project that I have in mind to do. And so let me show you these supplies. This is going to be for my new granddaughter. She's only 4 months old. And just shortly after she was born, my husband and I had a Disney World trip planned. So while we were there, we collected a bunch of pins for her and some little pressed pennies. And so I want to go ahead and make her a pin project to hold all the pins that we collected for her while we were there. So what I want to use, and I have a feeling this is probably out of print right now, but this is the Disney Classic paper pad, and I'm going to pull out this pink piece right here. And then I usually put a pocket in the back of my paper pads just to hold scraps, so I know where, if I want something from this piece, I can go check here. This is a rather large one. I was probably just in a hurry, but I do have a video for that if you want to go ahead and make some of these for yourself. I'll put a link for that below in the description. But this is going to be the paper I'm going to use, and it's going to just be in the background because really the cork head is going to cover everything, but this will just be a little bit of the background. And they have a Winnie the Pooh theme for her in her bedroom already. So here's the pins I started for her. And then I'm just repurposing this gold frame that was actually out in storage. So I'm going to reuse this frame. And then I purchased this cork, and it comes in several sheets, or very thin sheets, but I wanted to be able to cut on my Cricut, so that was the purpose of getting the thin sheets. And then I'm just going to layer them on top of each other, and if it doesn't happen to be enough, I pulled out this craft foam that I can layer behind it, and then just a scrap piece of gold vinyl I'm going to cut her name out on and put in the center of the little Mickey head. So let me switch over to my Cricut and start cutting out these pieces.
Images, and I already own a bunch of Disney, so I'm going to pull up Mickey head. I'm just going to use this one. Just going to make sure it's not charging me for that. And then I'm going to size it down to what's going to fit in my frame, which I think is going to be about 8 inches. Well, we're going to go for 7 to 7.5 inches. And then I'm going to hide some of these layers. I'm just going to go with this one. We'll go with make. I don't need to save it. And then I'm going to look for cork. And then I'm going to load it on the mat and cut. and then I'll show you the Cricut process next. And then from here, I can just go ahead and make and continue. And then here I need to look for cork. Now I haven't cut cork before, so this will be a first for me. But there's the cork. And then now I just need to load my mat. So I will move on to the Cricut process.
Okay, so this one is making 4 passes as it cuts, and I did use my 24-inch mat and just lined up the pieces of cork, and then I changed my project to 3 and hit apply, and then just spaced them out accordingly on design space to cut where it is. But you can see, I don't know what it's going to be like once it comes out of the machine and off the mat, but it looks pretty rough right here. So this is 3 out of 5 of the cork sheets that I purchased. So we'll see how well these turn out. I may just cut the other 2 by hand. We'll see. Okay, so let's take a look, and forgive the blue tape. I need to clean my mats and I just didn't take the time to do it. But it appears to have cut pretty good. Like the backing is fine because that's just coming off anyway. So let me get these off and see how it looks here. Because I was saying as I was cutting how rough it was looking. So it's a tad on the rough side as far as how well it cleans, but again, it's cork. I'm not going to necessarily blame the Cricut machine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my other 2 pieces, and I'll be right back. Okay, technically I haven't peeled the backs off or stuck it together yet, but I can tell it's just not quite thick enough. So I am going to go ahead and cut this foam. And to be perfectly honest, even this wouldn't have been enough. So I'm just going to layer them on top of each other, and then that'll give me a thick enough space for the pins to go through. So I'm just going to draw a pencil line around that and cut it out by hand, and then I'll come back and show you because my husband just got home and the dogs are going to go lose their mind. So I'm going to stop the camera for now. Okay, so I hand cut the black craft foam out by hand, and you can see it's a little jagged. So I'm just going to line up my cork on top of it, and then I'm going to go back around and trim it just so that it looks nice and clean. But you can see these are have stickers, a sticker back to it. So I'm going to line that up as best as possible. So I'm just trying to use the same focal point to line these up. Okay, so I'm gonna just trim this around and I'll show you when I'm done. I've already uploaded Kiara's name, so I just want to make sure it's the right size. And I'm gonna see what 5 inches looks like because I have that much room. And that'll make it like 2 1/4, 2.34, and that's actually going to be quite big. So I'm going to scale it down to 4. That'll work. So I'm going to cut this out. And I did not have this font on my computer for Cricut Design Space, so I made this in another program and just uploaded as an SVG. But of course you can use all the fonts that you have loaded on your computer or fonts that you have purchased through Cricut. But I'm just going to go ahead and make this now. You don't need to save it. And I'm just going to load it on my mat and we will cut it out. I'm going to use everyday, oh no, go back, premium vinyl. So I'm just going to load my mat and put it in my Cricut, and I will show you the next step. And then I have all this gunk from the cork being cut, so I'm going to go grab my Dyson and clean that out first, and then I'm going to cut out my name. Okay, I have my name cut from my vinyl. And if anybody's wondering, this is vinyl from Oracle. This is the scrap I have, and I have some Cricut transfer tape. And it's always so nice to be able to use quality vinyl so that everything weeds properly and so nicely, and you don't have to sit there and fight it, because I have purchased vinyl before, like a cheap brand off Amazon. Boy, was that a mistake. There are times when it's worth it to buy good products, and this would be one. So here is my pin head, and I had trimmed off the black by hand and put the cork on it, and then just went around and trimmed it with a craft knife just to make the edges nice and clean. And then we'll transfer our name. So I'm going to try and line it up with the grid I have here. To get this as straight as possible. Now I haven't applied vinyl to cork before, so I don't know how well this is going to transfer. I'm just going to burnish it down with my finger because I don't want it to lift off, obviously. And I feel like this would be too sharp. Okay, so I have her name on here. And then I'm going to need to cut out a piece. And I measured on the inside of my frame, and it's 8 by 10. And I was kind of playing with this, that it should work right here. Now I measured before on my space to be able to cut my cork, and this was, I had enough room to go 7.5 inches, and then when I was dragging out the image and design space, I went to 7.5 inches. Well, that was 7.5 inches wide. So I'm gonna have a little more room to play with in my space. So I'll be able to get more of an image. So that was like a nice oops. So let me just clean up my space here a little. And make a couple marks because I'm afraid of, I only have one sheet of paper, so I don't want to get it wrong. And really, if I have 10 inches, 5 inches is going to be my center, and that looks pretty centered to me. So I'm going to be able to go, I'm just going to go a hair over just to make sure so I don't mess it up. And then I have 8 inches this way. So 4 inches would be center. Approximately here. So I'm just going to go a little over again. And let me get my trimmer. just want to bring this in just to double check myself. And I think I'm going to grab a piece of chipboard, just put behind it to take up that space. So I have this packaging left over. I'm going to use this. Okay, I have everything laying flat now. And I may go back and stick that down. Okay, I'm just adding some adhesive to that just to keep it from being loose in the frame. I don't want anything to come out or undone. Okay, so we're looking better. I'm going to be able to put that right about there. And then for this part, I'm just going to add some adhesive to kind of hold it in place. But I'm going to use some wet glue to make sure it doesn't come apart. Okay, that'll do it. Okay, I'm going to find something heavy to sit on this to let it dry. And then I'm going to come back and we'll add a few pins and show how it looks all put together. Okay, here she is, all complete, nice and shiny. So I have some pins to go ahead and put on here for her. This is from our trip that I went around and collected pins. So I don't know if you're a pin trader, but you can buy some pin trading packs to start with. One of my little well-known secrets is I have bought packs on eBay before, and I buy a large lot and then you trade those pins with cast members. You always want to make sure you are getting a Disney pin. There's lots of knockoffs out there, so you know, check to see what you're getting. But these are the pins I traded for her. So I'll let her and her parents, since she's just months old, pick which ones will be the best. But you know, I got her Tinkerbell to get her started, so I'm going to put a couple Tinkerbells up there. Here's Pooh, and they have cats. They have 2 cats, and their names are from the Aristocats. So I've got Marie there, and here's Lucifer from Cinderella. Anyway, this will get her started, and I hope this inspires you to go ahead and make one for yourself. Obviously, you can make it a little bit bigger. My measurements were a little off there. I could have gone just a little bit bigger and got me a little bit more room. Or you could just make it a square if you wanted and just call it simple and put some nice Disney paper in the background. So I hope this inspires you to make something, and if you happen to be new to my channel, I would appreciate if you wouldn't mind giving me a like and a subscribe. I am trying to get my subscribers up to about 2,000 by this summer, and I always like to say that it is free for you to do, but priceless for me. So until next time, happy crafting. Bye.